Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This is your boy, Brother Shamla Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called More Push Towards Digital. More Push Towards Digital. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right. Like I said, this lesson is going to be called The Push Towards Digital. All right. And I've done, a few lessons on, these banks, these major banks, which are closing down, their brick and mortars. All right. Because ultimately the agenda is to push to go to a digital system. And ultimately, with that digital system, everything, the money, currency, and all that stuff will be digital, right? Which is the push towards the MOTB, Revelation 13:16. All right. This is just more traction and more movement towards it, right? So this is from The Street. This article that I found says massive bank closing, dozens of branches, locations revealed. All right. So it says whether they are paying ahead of time or picking up their items via curbside loading service or getting their groceries delivered, the way we shop has changed substantially. The same is true for how we shop for clothing, furniture, electronics, and even cars, right? So you see, like, this is not just an isolated thing, because we're going to be pretty much digital. All right. It's going to go to this digital currency, right, to be able to buy or sell that. And then ultimately that's going to be implanted, right, as the RFID chip, okay, in Revelation 13:16 and 17, all right, that no man might buy or sell, okay. But this is, and the thing about it is they're doing these things gradually before people's eyes, so most people are not watching and seeing what's going on, all right. And you see it with, how, a few years back, they started closing a lot of shops in the malls, and you had to buy stuff online. I remember just, even with, having children, you had to buy like the school clothes and stuff online because a lot of those places closed down, right? And this is all pre-planned, okay? So it says the same is true for how we shop for clothing, furniture, electronics, and even cars. It's no surprise that over 17% of all sales in the U.S. are done via e-commerce, a number slowly increasing each year. It says that means that pretty soon, one of every $5 spent in this country will be done so online. It says brick and mortar retail is still necessary. It says while the natural reaction to this shifting consumer habit might be a switch to all businesses to online, few retailers have it that easy. It says many legacy businesses either still rely on brick and mortar operations for some portion of their sales, or they must maintain a physical footprint because of customer expectations. Banks are one such business, right? Salaki, and this is on another note. It says more closings, right? And we continue to talk about this while, your boy Nero talks about he's going to make this place great again. You see all these companies just shutting their doors. All right. So you see popular Mexican chain closing all restaurants. Iconic mall chain shutting more stores forever. Major gym closing multiple locations after franchise bankruptcy. But back to the story, it says, while a growing number of their customers expect their banks to be digitally native, or at the very least, digitally capable, most banks must also maintain some semblance of an in-person operation. It says this isn't just necessary for consumer trust. Many people still go into the bank for a variety of reasons, be it cashing a check or obtaining a loan. It says popular bank shutting down branches. It says just because a bank needs a physical footprint doesn't mean it needs a branch on every corner. It says large banks like TD banks have learned this lesson. It says the Toronto-based bank announced it would close dozens of locations in coming months. It says, and now Santander is following suit. The Spanish bank, which runs a substantial business in the U.S., will close 95 locations in the U.K. and 18 in the U.S. It says the stateside closure will happen around New England in the following states: Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. 6 of the closures will take place in Massachusetts alone, where Santander is the third largest bank. Santander continues to refine its branch footprint and retail presence, including introducing new formats and investing in digital capabilities to better accommodate our customers and meet their evolving needs, Santander's spokesman said of the closure, right? So, basically, you see these places, they're cutting a lot of these unnecessary branches. They might have a place where you can go to do loans, right? But still, even then, it's going to be digital, okay? A lot of this stuff is digital, right? But you see, it's not only the banks, but it's also these other companies, right? It's not just the financial system. All these stuff, right? It's all going digital, okay? And we see this, continuing to happen, all right? And they're going to continue to close more, all right? Until this place, the cash is going to be obsolete, okay? Cash is coming to, the physical cash is coming to an end, a halt, all right? A halt. And you just think about it, just even now, most people don't even carry, cash, right? They don't carry cash, right? Because there's really not a need, because everything is digital, you know. But this is what we're, they're continuing to push this narrative, right? Because this is where they ultimately want to go. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the point of where we know we want where it's going, right? Ultimately, it all leads back, right, to Revelation 13 and 16. And it says, Revelation 13:16, and it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay. And we know so now you don't have cash. Everything is become digital, right? And you could put, this digital on what? The RFID chip. All right. And now you make it mandatory. If you want to buy or sell something, guess what? You're going to have to get this, right? Yep, you got money in your bank account, but you're not going to be able to access it unless you get this. All right. Unless you get this mark. All right. Which is, let's go to it. All right. It's Kadagma, right?
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
Karagma, right? Stamp, imprinted mark of a mark stamped on, the mark branded upon, thing carved, sculptured, graven, right? So this is a physical thing, right? And we've shown it, many times, man, right? The RFID hip, right? And you have the tool that is used to basically to carved in or grave into the skin, right? When you go in to the root word, right? Qadash, right? It says a pale, a stake, right? A palisade. It says pales between which earth, stones, trees, timbers heaped together, right? But a pale, right? Or a stake. A stake you use, so say like you make like a fence, or you drive the stake into the ground, right? So it penetrates the ground, all right, the earth, right? So that physical thing, right, is going to be inserted into you. This is a physical thing, okay? And this digital, this push to digital, right, just shows you the movement that is going into, okay? And this is very, plain upon tables. We continue to bring it up, right? But it says, and that verse 17, it said that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, so unless you have this, you're not going to be able to buy or sell, all right, in this system, right? And you see, because they're pushing everything even now online, right, which is digital, okay? And you're going to have to use their system in order to buy things, right? To buy and sell things, right? But not only is this thing going to be capable of buying, but it's going to be able to track everything that you do, okay? Right? I mean, this thing is going to have everything about you, all right? It's going to have all your information, okay? Everything that you need to do. So everything you see that they're doing now, they're leading up ultimately to Revelation, 16 and 17. Revelation 13, 16 and 17. Okay? And these are, the Esau, right? The top banking families, right? They want this full control over everybody. All right? And this is going to be that ultimate test that's going to come upon the whole world to try them. Okay? As Revelation 3 and 10 says. All right? But ultimately, they don't tell you, because remember, like, so we spoke about this at the camp, like Esau tries to do everything, he tries to be like the Most High, but everything he does is carnal, right? Has to be on a physical level, all right? Because he it's that left side, that left-handed side, spirit, and everything is, is physical, when you see it. All right. And we was talking about, he wants to be able to see everything that's going on. So he has his cameras placed everywhere. Okay. And this ultimate, the Karagma, right? This mark is going to be able capability to track you, to track everything that you're doing, right? To see where your whereabouts, right? All these capabilities, right? You have, Musk with his Neuralink, right, which can, pick up on brain, thoughts and have control, or you can control, your computer and different things, This is all, part of that, all right, but they're not telling you, ultimately, what's going to happen, right? And we're out here to warn the people, not to take this, right? One of the things, right, who take this, Revelation 16 verse 2, it says, in the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, right? Talking about the angel. It says, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshiped the image. Okay. And when we look up that word, let's see. What is Helkios, right? Helkios, it says a wound, especially a wound producing a discharge, pus a sore or an ulcer. All right. So those who take this, right, they're gonna be experiencing, these ulcers or sores or dust discharge from taking this, right? Which is basically, see answer, okay, for taking this, right? Because you're putting something electronic, metal type of device that emits out radio frequency into your body, okay, and that's not good. But they're not going to tell you that, right? They're just going to tell you, hey, the only way that you're going to be able to, partake in this society is that if you take this, all right. But also, right, we know if you take it, Revelation 14:9 says, doom for the worshipers of the beast, Salakia. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, right? Because the technology is all here, right? They have it, right? You even have China, who has kind of taken over even, what Musk has, right? And it's made it even thinner and less invasive, right? That they can use. Okay. It says, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay, so those who take this, hey, they're gonna feel the full wrath of the Most High's anger. All right, which is gonna be poured without mixture. Okay. And you can see, the judgments that Yahawah has been placing on the earth, right? What more his full anger upon you, right, for taking this. All right, that's why we're telling people, hey, don't do it, don't do it. Those who don't take it, right? We can go to Revelation 3 real quick, Salakia. Revelation 3:10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, right, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, okay, which is this great testing, all right. It says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth, right, because this is going to try everybody, right, this mandatory CHIP, right, this mandatory implementation, of this, okay. So they're going to do something that's going to cause, everybody to have to take this, right? And this is what we're waiting for. All right. But we see that they're continuing to narrow their field. They're kind of narrowing everybody by closing these stores, by making everything digital. You're forced to, like, a lot of people that they don't have cash. A lot of people don't carry cash because they know everything is going digital. All right. And then ultimately, once they pull the plug, right, and they go fully digital, right, but they've been, what do you call it? Pre-programming people already to get used to this. Okay. In the NLT, it says, because ye have obeyed my command to preserve, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world, right? Because you're going to have to make that choice, okay? On who are you going to serve? You're going to serve the Most High, right? Or are you going to serve and be Esau's, right? Okay? So this is the thing, man, right? You continue to warn you, right? We know it's coming, all right? And, just by the stores going digital, we know that the progression is being made to ultimately to have this mandate that everybody will be mandatory CHIP. Okay, so it's coming. All right, and this is just another push, towards that agenda. All right, at the end of the day, we know that this going digital, right, is going to be more to the push towards leading to Revelation 13 and 16. So I just want to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who have ruled well to the spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect, man. Stay diligent, stay focused, and continue to keep the word of Yahawah Bahasham patience, all right? And understand and stand firm in the name of Yahawah Bahasham, all right? During these great trials and tribulations, all right? Remember, it says, the name of Yahawah Bahasham is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and are safe. Okay? That is our safety. All right? And with that, I'll say shalom.